Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that have not been here before, my name is Kamani Alana, and go ahead and follow me on social media feeds. It's all under Kamani Alana as well, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. I don't really tweet that much, but you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter as well. I just try to make it really simple, so it's just Kamani Alana across the entire board. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the highly anticipated new foundation called Meet Your Hue, and it's by Dose of Colors. Now the packaging is really nice. It's actually really sleek, modern. We like that. And then the actual bottle is sleek as well. It's frosted glass. It has weight to it, so it doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart on you or break that easily anyway. And then it has Meet Your Hue written across around the top of it here. So before I do a test on this and get all into it, let me give you a few specs on this foundation. Now it says it's high in pigment, matte finish, it's buildable, lightweight, and long wear. It also says that it's medium to full coverage, and it also says it's supposed to be blurring, so it's supposed to blur out fine lines and imperfections. So there's 42 shades in all, which I completely commend that. I mean, first coming out with your first foundation products, I do like the fact that she's trying to make it inclusive. So there are 6 color families, which are fair, light, light medium, medium tan, dark, and deep. Now, a few days ago, I was able to swatch these, and I pretty much swatched 3 color families, which were the medium tan, dark, and deep families. Now I'm in the medium tan going into the dark family. I will say I was with a group of other ethnicities of women trying the product out, and when it came to me and a couple of other women of color, it got really tricky. I will say that much. So in each color family, there are 7 colors for each color family. So there's a jump from each family to each family. Usually in a color family, I mean, I understand if there's 42 shades, that should pretty much cover it, but there was a lot of jumping going on there. So really, when we were testing these products out, when we were trying them on and swatching them and putting, you know, basically testing it out on our faces, it was really tricky, especially for the women of color. So first I wanted to start out with 126. That was too light, it was pulling pink. So then 127 seemed like that was a good one. I went into 128, 129, 130, 131, all of them pulled way too pink. Every single one of them just pulled way too pink. And then on the other couple of women of color, it was pulling pink as well, so it wasn't just me. And literally, like, we were all looking at each other like, we're trying, we're here to support, we want to get into this product, but it just got really tricky. So there was definitely some mixing going on. There wasn't one color that fit any of us. And then also there were quite a few women in the fair skin tone going into like fair, light, and light medium. And a lot of those colors are pulling really yellow. So even with the fair women, they were having to mix some colors together. It was really tricky for them as well. But I still want to do a review for you guys. I have quite a few products by Dose of Colors, which are freaking amazing. They're really dope. A lot of the products that they do develop, or Anna, the creator, Petrosian, she's a fucking boss. Let's just be honest. And going from a makeup artist to having her own line is, I mean, pretty much a lot of makeup artists' dreams. And to be able to come out with a lot of products that she has already come out with before her foundation that have been spectacular, that's what made me want to even come out and even try the product. So I still want to do this review for you guys. I'm gonna do it for you. So I picked my color up in 127 in medium tan, and then I pretty much had to mix my color down with in the dark family 132. Like I said, everything between 128 and 131 were pulling so pink. Like it was just so pink. There was no way none of those were really gonna work. But I think that we can try to make it work with 127 and 132. So let's test it out. Okay, so I pumped them on my hand for you guys. This is in the color 127 and this is in the color 132. So let's just take a look how it looks on my skin. So this is 127 here, right? And like I said, going into 128 through 131, it was, it didn't work out. And then we're going into 132, which is obviously a huge jump. So I literally had to mix these two together. So the color in 127, which was the lighter color, is supposed to be warm golden undertones. And the darker color, 132, is supposed to be golden red undertones. Now, I'm not particularly red. I will also say, upon trying these foundations, the in-between colors between 127 and 132, I found that the descriptions weren't necessarily correct. So the color 128, which is one after 127, it says peach undertones, but it was pulling super pink. Then 129 says it's supposed to be neutral undertones, still super pink. 130 in the dark family was supposed to be just golden undertones. It was still just super pink. 131 in the dark family was supposed to be neutral cool undertones, and it was just pink. Now I'm gonna put 127 medium tan and then the 132 in dark family. I'm gonna add those two together. Those were the only ones that I found that actually had the truest to the golden undertones, which I truly am, and that weren't particularly turning so pink on my skin. So as you can see, I just added a little bit more, and I'm just really gonna use like my hand, the back of my hand as like my palette here. And then I'm just gonna go in, and as you can see, the mix of the two together. And we're just gonna go in and try to make this work. Now this definitely is coming off as a light to medium coverage foundation. I can tell if I want it to go full coverage, I literally have to add like a whole nother layer here. Ooh, child. It's like you have to do a lot of mixing to get the color that I need, really. And there's a lot of red in this one right here, that 132, but it's like, what was I gonna do? These undertones are a little tricky. Now it says that it's a blurring foundation. Am I finding the blur that I want compared to other foundations on the market? I can't necessarily say that yet, but let me just go ahead and go with my face. Let's just see how it sits on my face. I'm gonna go ahead and put concealer on, things like that. So let's just finish my complexion and we'll just see where we go from there. So I'm gonna go in with my Natural Radiant Concealer, and this one is in the color Caramel. And let's just see what we do. I need to add some more yellow back in my skin, or I'll say golden back in my skin, because, ooh child, it just is getting more and more red by the minute. And then I'm just going to pull some down in here, down my nose here, a little bit on my chin. Yes. And I just like to get right in here too. I mean, my makeup sits in my creases, my laugh lines here, so I just want to make sure I pull those in, you know? Let's start bouncing this on my face, I know. Now I'm also testing out the formulation too, so besides the undertones, I'm just trying to see if I'm feeling the formulation as well. I love me a NARS Radiant Concealer. I mean, you can't go wrong with the NARS Radiant Concealer, you know? And I'm stopping here for a second because just look at how much more golden this is, the Natural Radiant Concealer is, and Caramel, than the rest of my forehead. Now listen, I understand having a warm, but you can just kind of tell the difference. Okay, I still don't know how I feel about this foundation. I'm trying to roll with it. Listen, I'm just scoping it. I'm scoping it real quick. Let's just see. Okay, I'm gonna go in and contour a little bit. I would have grabbed a darker color in this, but they were just all pulling so pink and red as it got deeper. So I'm actually gonna go in with my NARS Matte Velvet foundation, and this one is in Benares. And we're just gonna come in a little bit and just kind of do a little contour. I'm actually just gonna take my crease angled brush here, and I'm just gonna tap that, and then I'm just gonna bring it in a little bit here. Because honestly, this foundation is giving me more like light to medium coverage. I mean, again, I had to put on 3 coats to get it to where it's at. So as far as this being practical as a full coverage, I wouldn't say that. Boom, boom, boom. Let's beat her down. Let's add some golden tones in there, darling. Now my cream is blending in nicely with the foundation, so I'm not mad about that. So now I'm gonna go in with the Fenty Pro Filter Powder, and this is in the color Banana. Because child, I feel like I need to add some more golden yellow back in my skin tone. I don't know. I don't know, honey, I don't know. So I'm gonna go under my eyes here and just kind of set her down for a minute, honey. I'm gonna use a brush just to really buff the powder into my skin. Because this is such almost like a very silky powder, it's not making the foundation like powdery or matte, because I will say, even though it says it's a matte finish, I'll say semi-matte. I'll say that much. And maybe I'm off only because I had to put 3 layers on to cover some stuff up in certain areas. I don't know, because literally if you put one, and I say coat, but when you put 1 layer on, it's very much like, oh, it's very light and like very lightweight and very sheer. It's a lot more sheer than what you would believe it to be. So when it says that it's medium to full coverage, it does not start off as a medium coverage. It starts off as a very light coverage. Let's go ahead and just bake these smile lines here. Now I see the blurring effects, but it ain't because of the foundation, okay? Because honestly, the foundation in here, like, I do have pretty kind of big pores in here, but it's almost accentuating my pores. Because honey, I took a long hard look in my mirror here. I was like, let me see what's going on here. And it wasn't really like locking down my pores. So if you're gonna say blurring effect, like, it needs to blur out the pores. Like, I shouldn't have to like lock them down even more with powder for that to happen. So hence Fenty Beauty Pro Filter. It filters out these pores, honey. I was hoping that I would already see that in the foundation, but that's not what I was seeing. But at least the powder brought that red down though, and that's what I was hoping. So okay, let's go ahead and take off this powder. It's only been a couple minutes. I don't need to bake that long, and I'll just stipple it in my skin. Actually, I started with a brush, but I was like, let me just stipple this in my skin. Let me just keep this yellow going, you know what I mean? Let me keep the true golden undertones going, honey. Okay, now that my complexion is done, I am gonna go off camera. I'm gonna do the rest of my face really quickly, and then I will be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. So here's my final thoughts on this one. First of all, let's just talk about the description of the formula. So basically it says that it's lightweight, which it is. It also says that it is medium to full coverage. I beg to differ on that one. I would say light to medium coverage. Now it can go full coverage, but the problem with that at this point is that you're gonna be using at least 3 layers to get to full coverage. So really, should have been probably marketed as a light to medium coverage. You don't want to have to use that much product. You should not have to use that much product to get to full coverage. Now the bottle is 1 ounce, so if you're using that much product to get to full coverage, which you're gonna have to use at least probably about 3 pumps to do so, just depending on your face, maybe 3.5, 4, then honestly you are going to be going through this product very quickly. And again, it's only 1 ounce in this bottle. Now this foundation retails for $36, which is not a bad price point. I mean, it's pretty fair, it's in the middle. Now on to more serious business. Let me preface by saying this. I commend the owner, I commend Dose of Colors for coming out with 42 shades and trying to make the brand inclusive. That is super important, especially in our climate. We're in 2019. There's still a ways to go, but I commend her. This is her first line, her first foundation line ever. What I know as far as the background, it wasn't something that was just thrown out there. So obviously there's always some thought, a lot of thought that's put into, and a lot of work that is put into their products. Saying that, I commend Dose of Colors for trying to make the brand all inclusive. But this is a review, right? So let's get down to the nitty gritty. And the nitty gritty of it is, for me, I always look at products, does it work well for me? You know, would it work well in my kit? Would I use this on one of my clients? They want to look beautiful. They pay me to do their makeup. And with that, I would have to say this was a miss for me. The undertones just aren't there. They're just not. It should never be this tricky to find a foundation, especially for a woman of color. It becomes very frustrating as a woman of color when it becomes this tricky to try to find your color, especially when there's just such a jump. So I went from 127, which was in the medium tan family, all the way to 132. And as you can see, it was just way too red. as I was putting it on. You guys saw that, and I shouldn't have to work that hard. I literally had to try out the entire medium tan family. I had to go through part of the dark family, and then even swatching the dark family, a lot of those shades were pulling way too red. Like I said, I was with a few other women of color. All of them left the counter. All of them left the product there because it just wasn't working. And it wasn't like I was between 127 and 129 where it's just like, oh, I'm in my summer color and we're just kind of in between colors. It was like the entire medium tan family didn't work for me, period. And even with 127, that was the only color that had like that true golden undertone, but it was too light. So it wasn't necessarily like that color even worked for me. And it wasn't that 132 or for me. I will never push something to you guys that's just not on point. This is my profession. I've been a pro celebrity makeup artist for over 12 years. I've done some of the biggest celebrities in the world, from Victoria Beckham to Christina Milian. And so when I come in, I gotta have the best product. I have to have the best things for my clients so they feel beautiful. And it shouldn't be this tricky to do so. I would not recommend this foundation. I wouldn't say at least any woman of color should be running out to grab this foundation. Now the thing is that we were there to support. That was the point. So we came in, we wanted to try it. I've tried products. A lot of, you know, women of color, the community, we've come in, we love Dose of Colors. So I commend her for her first round trying to make it inclusive. So this isn't to bash the foundation, it just needs work. So those are my thoughts. That's just what it is. Thank you guys for joining me in this video. So you guys go ahead and sound off below. Let me know what you guys think about this foundation and this review. Also, don't forget to turn on your notification button so you don't miss any videos by me. And the most important thing is don't forget to subscribe. Go ahead and push that button. You're looking at me in my optical retina right now. Just go ahead, push the button. It's okay. You know you're gonna come back. So just go ahead and subscribe. Join the family, join the crew over here. So I'm leaving you guys with lots of love, and I'll see you on the next video. Mwah.